will control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host Mark. Today covering a children's horror anthology series called The Nightmare Room. So this is, I think, sometimes called R.L. Stine's Nightmare Room as well. It's based on stories written by R.L. Stine from a series called The Nightmare Room. And in fact, the first episode, the one we're covering now, was called Don't Forget Me, is the first one in that series, in the written series. It aired in the US from August 31st, 2001 to March 16th, 2002 on Kids WB, Warner Brothers. Interestingly, it's one of only two shows at the point of reading this that were live action that was on that channel. There was only this and another show called Brats of the Lost Nebula. Otherwise, it was cartoons or animated. So that's kind of an interesting difference. And in all, there were 13 episodes, and they aired, as I say, pretty consistent. There were some gaps. For example, it didn't show in November at all for some reason, but it started in late August, and just ran through until March 16th, pretty much weekly, apart from a gap around November. And just having a quick look, and there was only a couple shown in December, around the Christmas period. It didn't air either. Yeah, interesting show, because Amanda Bynes was in this particular episode, so, there was a recognisable face. She's quite young in this. She has to say she's 13, 14, something like that. But looking through it, they got various child actors, or actors we know who acted as children in this. One stand up for me is Shia LaBeouf and Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory. But grown-up actors in it included David Norton, Robert Englund, Tippi Hedren, David Carradine, Angus Scrimm from the Phantasm series. So that's pretty scary. Quite liked it. It's got quite a distinctive intro, which actually kind of reminds me of the intro of this show. In fact, I'm going to play you it now so you can hear it for yourself.
When the lights fade and the moon rises, anything can happen. The world becomes a carnival of shocks and chills. A whirling merry-go-round that never stops, spinning faster and faster, taking you on a frightening ride. I'm R.L. Stine. Don't fall asleep. Or you may find yourself in the Nightmare Room.
So yeah, R.L. Stine. In fact, that isn't R.L. Stine speaking. That is James Avery from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And the Avery episode opened this way. It's quite a good, strong opening. The credits are pretty cool. It's a kid kind of restless in bed, clearly having a nightmare, while all those nightmarish imagery sort of appear from nowhere. It's a bit Night Gallery, in fact, that part of it, the visually. So it's kind of interesting. So the first episode, the one I'm talking about today, is called Don't Forget Me. Aired on the 31st of August 2001. In fact, 2 episodes aired on that day as like a big bang, I guess. So yeah. So this one, Don't Forget Me, directed by David Jackson. The second one that was shown on the same day was Careful of What You Wish For. Interestingly, I never knew this, directed by Anson Williams and starring Shia LaBeouf. Anson Williams was Potsy in Happy Days. Really didn't know he'd gone into directing, so that's a really interesting little fun fact. And that one's called Careful What You Wish For. I like the title of that. Don't Forget Me, though. This one is kind of cool. And I kind of just watching this when I get the structure of each episode. It's basically 2 ad breaks, and they have basically a cliffhanger at the end of each, or a very scary moment at the beginning of each of the ad breaks, so you come back to get a resolution. Kind of nicely idea for children's stuff. Amanda Bynes pretty good. She's got a younger brother and kind of a boyfriend, and mum and a dad. They've just moved into a house, but there's something weird in the basement. The little brother, he's kind of whispering, and Amanda Bynes, who's called Danielle, wants to do some sort of act for a school presentation. She wants to involve her little brother, so they do a fake kind of hypnotism act, but the little brother seems to go under. But then a little brother starts to just forget things. And also, it does actually start with the parents, them all moving in, but the parents going out and not saying goodbye. And Amanda, Danielle sort of says, "What, you going to say goodbye?" He goes, "No, we totally forgot. Sorry." So they're getting forgetful. Things keep getting forgotten. And her little brother Peter, is forgetting how to play video games, for example. It's things like that. So yeah, really kind of cool. I thought this was pretty good for a kids anthology show. It proceeds with various things that look spooky without being too horrific. There are this basement's a bit spooky, and there were we see weird cracks with light filtering through. It's a bit like some of the motifs I've seen in running storylines in Doctor Who, actually, with lights coming through, which they don't seem to see, or they're in a part of the room they're just not looking at. And then it proceeds, and the little brother starts acting weird. Danielle is freaked out because she thinks the pretend hypnotism, which may have worked and scrambled his brain somewhat. But there's something else going on. There's weird stuff going on in the cellar. At one point, the little brother gets kind of slimed and he's forgetting things. Danielle's freaked out and runs to her boyfriend or male friend and says, Peter, I need to help Peter. And the boyfriend says, "Who's Peter?" Like he's forgotten. So everyone's starting to forget, and then she also goes to Peter's school, and they have no record of a Peter there, and it's getting worse and worse. At one point, there's a bit of horseplay, and a picture gets smashed, and Daniel hides the frame smash, but then throws the picture in the trash because she figures if her parents see the picture, they'll know the frame's been smashed, but they may not notice, is thinking. Anyway, at some point she's kind of running around the school, don't recognise him. She goes back to her house, so mum answers the door, does not recognise Danielle. Things are getting forgotten. There's also a mysterious man lurking around with a hat and a beard. This is a mainstay of children's horror anthology. I see a stranger sort of observing, who turns out to be not an evil presence, a good presence. It's kind of like Home Alone, right? The old guy in Home Alone, it's kind of that vibe. And essentially, this house is haunted by ghosts of children that have just been forgotten by their friends and family. The house kind of makes people forget there's a child there, and then it kind of absorbs them. And it turns out this fella wandering around is one of those that managed to escape. But he aged rapidly when he escaped to be what his age would have been if he hadn't have been trapped. So it's very, very odd. But they managed to get out. The next thing we see, they've moved away. Another family are there, and we see another child in the family kind of looking down the basement, and they call it the Forgotten House or something as well. So it's kind of known there's something weird going on with this house in the neighbourhood, but no one mentions it. Yeah, it's kind of okay. Amanda Bynes is fine. It's a kids' anthology show, so it's overly dramatic, because that's the nature of those shows. And I kind of like the two sort of ad breaks, stroke cliffhanger moments or scary moments that kind of works. There's a lot going into this to keep a lot of energy up, and it's fine. This is also available on YouTube. I think the entire series is available on YouTube. So if you sort of YouTube and search for Nightmare Room, Don't Forget Me, you will find it. So yeah, some interesting stuff going on. I quite enjoyed this. I thought it was okay for a children's anthology show. Early 2000s, so yeah. Okay, so I am going to finish there. But before I go, may I ask, is anybody out there?
I'm not.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to